Whether it's TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, influencers use social media to promote themselves and their lifestyle. They also present products ranging from cosmetics to fashion to drinks. Influencer marketing, interesting or unfair? That's our topic on Shift today. When influencers advertise products, the companies which created them benefit. Those companies can reach a wider audience, get to present a positive image, and sell more products. At the same time, the influencers earn money and generate new content with their posts, and can get more followers. At first glance, this seems like a win-win situation where both sides earn easy money. But is that all there is to it?
Influencers on YouTube, Instagram or TikTok promote their own lifestyle and products to go with it, making them important advertising partners for companies.
The influencers know how to make themselves appealing. They speak the right language to reach their generation.
Jacqueline Koss, a micro-influencer with just a few thousand followers, can also earn money. She has been blogging and posting since 2015 on topics like fashion and beauty.
You work together with brands that pay money for you to feature their products on your feed, like wearing their clothes and then posting about the outfit.
Ideally, their followers then buy the promoted product. Most influencers don't speak about money publicly, but AI analysis platform Hype Auditor surveyed some influencers in the USA. About half earn money with their Instagram account at an average of around €2,500 a month. Only 4% are able to earn a living with their Instagram account. According to the survey, those mega influencers with over 1 million followers earn €13,000 a month on average. They work on their Instagram account for an average of 48 hours a week. Influencers with fewer followers often invest less time, but also make less money. According to Hype Auditor, the average income is around €27 an hour. Clearly, a lot of work is required to become rich off being an influencer.
Influencers are basically like infomercials. They promote themselves and their opinions. Occasionally, they promote either their own or branded products. As users, we often fail to notice this, or we just don't mind. What makes influencer marketing so successful?
In influencer marketing, the brands don't have to advertise themselves anymore. Instead, the influencer becomes the brand. Perceived as another everyday user simply giving enthusiastic tips, they are more relatable to followers. Influencers often provide an insight into their day-to-day lives. This comes across as authentic and makes followers perceive the influencers as trustworthy.
I would say the relationship between the two bodies are more intimate and quite interactive and co-created. And this way, this relation renders the influencers very influential among their followers.
Brands struggle to get the same level of trust that influencers have. But with influencer marketing, this trust can be transferred onto the brand. 4 out of 10 millennial YouTube subscribers say their favorite influencer understands them better than their friends do. According to a recent study, 43% of users in Brazil bought products after they had been promoted on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok.
The followers, they are just, can be very biased, very positive bias towards what they have to say, and they trust them wholeheartedly because they feel they consider influencers as close friends instead of idols or the friendship, the relationship between them. So they really think the influencers as someone like them, like someone they can relate it to.
By using influencer marketing, brands are winning over more customers than with any other type of advertisement. Increasingly, brands are counting on influencers and are creating campaigns tailored specifically to influencers and their followers. And 22% of marketers say that influencer marketing is the most economic way of getting new customers.
I would say it still is on the uphill or upward trajectory in the foreseeable future. And especially there are new formats of them, like virtual influencers or AI influencers. and all sorts of other types of influencers, like children influencers, pet influencers, and so on. I would still see the trend it will still evolve and rise.
Child influencers? That seems pretty crazy to me. Some of them are already earning millions. Of course, the money is managed by their parents first. And usually the entire family is part of it anyway. These careers can be very time-consuming. And providing for the family is quite a lot of pressure on these little influencers, considering they're still kids. Child influencers are also role models for younger users, even though they in particular should be protected from hidden advertisements. But it's an issue for adults too. Several countries have now worked out rules for influencer marketing.
The rule in Germany. If an influencer like TV presenter Kathi Hummels posts a marketing photo on Instagram, she is allowed to do so without labeling it as an advertisement, if certain conditions are met. Like if it's for her own company, since her followers would be aware of that. Advertisement or not, it depends on whether influencers get paid. This hardly seems like a proper guideline, but India shows how it can be done. Here, the Advertising Standards Council of India, ASCI, has published guidelines that have been legally binding for everyone since 14th June 2021. Every post containing advertisements needs to be labeled as such, regardless of whether the influencer gets paid by the manufacturer. There are also guidelines on the positioning and language of this information, as well as the correct descriptions. The ASCI plans to remove violations using artificial intelligence. In the United Arab Emirates, the National Media Council says influencers have to tag all posts containing advertisements with hashtags like ad or paid ad. Sponsored posts or advertisements need to be clearly discernible. In Brazil, the National Council for Advertising Self-Regulations Guide clearly states that advertisements should be labeled as such. Influencers are expected to use terms like publi or publi post. In the US, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has published a pamphlet with tips on when and how posts should be labeled as advertisements. The FTC emphasizes that there is a material connection between influencer and brand. Other countries like Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands have introduced similar regulations to control advertisements posted by influencers.
In the UK, influencer marketing is regulated by law. But a recent survey among 2,500 British social media users showed that 46% did not know what the hashtag ad meant. It means that the influencer was paid to promote the product. And even if users do clearly recognize posts from influencers as advertisements, that doesn't mean they'll react to it negatively. Here's marketing expert Chen Lu from the Nanyang Technological University in Singapore.
Our recent findings show that in this context of influencer marketing, the relation between influencers and their followers are so intimate and so genuine. I mean, as at least from the perspective of followers. And this relation actually renders the disclosure of sponsorship sometimes ineffective. Some followers even say, well, I think their promotion or their sponsorship deals with brands are actually a signal of their success.
Of course, users who see influencers as digital friends or role models are probably more likely to forget that social media posts are also about making money. But what happens when an influencer promotes a product that's not worth the money? Or even worse, never even arrives? So-called fake shops either post advertisements on Instagram themselves or through influencers and take advantage of the fact that users are so gullible.
Influencers get a lot of trust, sometimes too much, as fans and followers are increasingly noticing. Instagram user Shadi Raya Lotfi became a victim of a fake online shop when she bought a blow dryer that was being promoted by her favorite influencer.
Ganze auf freakyfridays.de wischt ihr gerne nach oben, da kommt ihr dorthin und wie gesagt...
Once I saw that it was 300 euros, I was sold. I just thought, I really need to have it. I need to be one of the 100 people that could buy it now. I didn't question any of it for 1 minute. I believed her.
The creators of Watchlist Internet from Vienna have been observing fraudulent activity on the web for quite some time. They have also been commissioned by the Austrian government. Their database lists over 10,000 fraudulent websites. The shops have a professional look and offer discounts. Customers who buy a product usually have to pay in advance. Then, the product doesn't arrive and the money is gone. Often, there's little the digital friend or influencer will do.
The consumer doesn't buy the product of the influencer, but from the shop. And unfortunately, the risk of buying a product from a fraudulent shop is a risk every consumer is responsible for themselves.
Some countries now have places for complaints and ways to report fake shops. But online consumer fraud is increasing, and consumer protection on social media is still an issue.
I've learned not to blindly trust influencers. I've realized that Instagram users are not my friends and that I'm responsible for what I buy myself.
Unfortunately, not all consumers learn this lesson. So does this mean that the regulations for influencers are not strict enough?
Sometimes the disclosure may not ensure enough protection for consumers because some captive followers, they trust the influencers wholeheartedly, regardless of whether the post is being sponsored or not.
Clearly, regulations for influencer marketing are confusing. But it's becoming one of the most important business models of our time. At the eCampus University in Italy, you can even study influencer now. And in Germany, children can already recreate life as an influencer with these toys. I find unlabeled influencer marketing problematic, especially for children and teenagers. Influencers create the illusion of a perfect life where branded products are taken for granted, and beauty is defined by filters. What's your opinion on this? Do you like getting recommendations on products? Feel free to let us know on YouTube or dw.com. Until then, it's goodbye from us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.